What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. Now, this video, it is time for the Week 6 Premier League predictions. Now, I do just want to quickly say, things are very busy in my life right now. I'm in the process of moving house, so I'm having to record this prediction video before Week 5 has fully ended. Most of the games have happened, but we haven't had the Aston Villa versus West Ham prediction or game on the Monday night because it's currently Monday morning at the time of recording. I do want to give a massive shout out, though, to the Jammer 1980, who left their predictions for Week 5 on the previous video, and the reason I chose them is because they came the closest to predicting the Norwich Man City upset. They predicted 3-2 to Man City, so right score, wrong way round, but most people like me predicted that Man City would win this one quite easily, and obviously for those who had De Bruyne and Sterling in their fantasy team, like myself, they were kind of screwed by the fact that Guardiola didn't really give Norwich their credit and didn't take this game too seriously and really bottled that match and didn't play them the full 90 like he should have done. So yes, anyway, before we do get into the Week 6 predictions, it's time to look back at the Week 5 results that we know so far, all but one, and compare how I did in my Week 5 prediction video. So if you want to get shouted out in the next video, leave your Week 6 predictions down in the comments below. I'm excited to read them. Football is exciting again. The international break is over. Champions League is coming. Europa League is coming, and it's just going to be an exciting time. So first of all, Liverpool versus Newcastle. I really thought at half-time I was going to get a correct score here. I predicted a 4-1 win to Liverpool, and it was actually a 3-1 win to Liverpool. So close, but no cigar. The next game, very similar again. I predicted a 0-0 draw between Brighton and Burnley, and it was the closest thing to it. It was a 1-1 draw, so I'm fairly happy with that. The next one, I predicted a high-scoring game, a 2-2 draw between Man United and Leicester, and United got a 1-0 win thanks to a Marcus Rashford penalty. So whether it was an ugly win or not, United will be very happy with those 3 points. A good 3 points as well. The next game, Sheffield United versus Southampton. I predicted a 1-1 draw between the two teams, and I think it would have been had Sheffield's goal not been disallowed, but it ended in a 1-0 win to Southampton. So close, but again, slightly off. The next game, Tottenham Crystal Palace. I predicted a comfortable 2-0 win to Tottenham, and it was 4-0 by half-time and a 4-0 finish. So again, close-ish. You know, I'm happy with that one, to be honest. The next game, a lot of people were saying that Wolves might get something from this at home. I predicted a 2-1 away win to Chelsea. Double it and add some more goals. It was a 5-2 win to Chelsea on the day. So a great win for them. Lampard's looking good at the moment. He's really building something, which is good for them. The next one, of course, Norwich Man City. I predicted a 3-0 win to Man City. Maybe against the really, I guess you could say, weaker teams. You should maybe get ready to predict a bit of an upset because Guardiola does, I guess, need to rotate his squad. He has got good squad depth, but at the same time, his defence just isn't up to the standard of his midfield and attack. It's not a bad defence. Arsenal is crying out for a defence like Man City, but compared to the attack and midfield they've got, it's just not up to par. So obviously Norwich won that one 3-2, which really makes things interesting. The next game, Bournemouth versus Everton. I predicted a 2-1 win to Everton away from home. Maybe that was a bit risky considering Everton's away from isn't great, but Bournemouth turned up, got a 3-1 win, so good result for them. And then the Watford-Arsenal game, I predicted a 2-0 win to Arsenal. I thought at half-time maybe it'd be even more, 3 or 4, but in the end it was a 2-2 draw. It was almost as if the Watford and Arsenal game was similar to the North London derby, but Arsenal were the Tottenham of the Watford game. You know, they were 2-0 up, and then by the end, when it was 2-2, you actually felt quite lucky that Arsenal managed to get a point. Like, from 2-0 up, just like Tottenham were, they go 2-2 draw and think, hang on, we could lose, and they almost do, just like Tottenham almost did. So it was literally the North London derby, but reversed for Arsenal in this fixture, in my opinion. They were the away team that were 2-0 up. They went 2-2 at the end and held on to that 2-2. It was very similar in that sense. And obviously the Aston Villa West Ham game hasn't happened yet, but you guys know the result. I predicted a 2-2 draw, so maybe that's good, maybe it's not. Kicking off in Week 6, we have Southampton versus Bournemouth. Southampton have actually been looking okay, you know, not incredible. Bournemouth, they've been looking, you know, they've been looking decent, actually. They played really well against Everton. They played well against Man City when I watched that game. And obviously, Bournemouth's away form isn't as great. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in this fixture. I think there's going to be goals galore. I think it's going to go either end. And like I said, 2-2. Bournemouth at home, I think, would be able to beat Southampton. But Southampton at home are also a lot stronger. So I'm going to go for a 2-2. I think if I had to pick a winner, I'd probably go 2-1 Southampton. But I'm going to go for a 2-2 in this South Coast matchup. The next game is Leicester versus Tottenham. Now, this is going to be a very good game, actually. It's going to be tough. It's at the King Power Stadium, and I genuinely think that any team could win this one. But I think coming off the back of the 4-0 win against Crystal Palace versus coming off the back of a 1-0 loss against United, I think the momentum is with Tottenham. And I'm going to go for a slight Tottenham away win, a 2-1 in this fixture. But I do think it could go either way, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. The next game is Burnley versus Norwich, and obviously Norwich, they had a fantastic week. The Pookie party is still going. You know, I saw an ad on Instagram that said it's, you know, some of the top scorers in the Premier League, Team Aguero versus Team Pookie, who's going to win? And I was like, all right, I get it. I get the marketing of the game, but what's the point? Man City are going to walk it. And lo and behold, it had to be that man, Teemu Pukki, scoring the winning goal for Norwich against Manchester City. So I think they're going to be buzzing with that. Obviously, that's half their points this season. They're on 6 points over 5 games, and 3 of them have come from Manchester City, which is absolutely phenomenal. So it's going to be a close one because Burnley at Turf Moor are a tough team to beat, and I'm going to go for a stalemate in this one. I'm going to go for a 1-1 scoreline. The next game is Everton versus Sheffield United. Sheffield were a little bit unlucky not to get anything from Southampton, and I think Everton is going to be a step up from that at Goodison Park. Everton also having to bounce back from the loss against Bournemouth. I think they're going to win this one, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Everton. I don't see Sheffield United getting anything from this game. Maybe they'll score, but I don't see them coming away with any points. The next one, Manchester City against Watford. Watford played brilliantly against Arsenal to get back the 2-goal deficit that they had. Their defence wasn't great in regards to the goals, but they did well going forward and got a deserved point. Man City, their defence just passing out from the back like that. I have no idea why teams... I saw Arsenal conceded doing the same thing. I have no idea why teams are persisting to pass out from the back. Passing out from the back's fine, but when your fullbacks are so narrow, it's asking for trouble. It's literally inviting the pressing team to come and score. So I don't get it. But Man City, they're wounded and they have to bounce back. So I think they're going to, and it's going to be quite a show. It's going to be a 4-1 win to Manchester City. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. The next game, Newcastle versus Brighton. Newcastle, they gave Liverpool a little bit of a scare, but in the end, it was just the power of Liverpool that was a little bit too strong for them. Brighton looked all right against Burnley. They always tend to look fairly solid at home. I'm going to go for another home win in this fixture to Newcastle. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Steve Bruce in this one. So I think that could be a close game, to be honest. The next one, another close game, is Crystal Palace versus Wolves. Wolves really seem to be feeling the effects of European football, if nothing else. And they are struggling a little bit in the league. I don't think they're in danger of relegation, but it might be more of a mid-table, like bottom half, top of the bottom half, mid-table kind of finish. And Crystal Palace, they obviously got absolutely taken apart by Tottenham Hotspur. So again, I think this is going to be a close one, and Wolves have been getting draws. You know, they've been getting loads of draws this season, and I think it's going to be another one. I think Wolves are going to draw this game. I'm going to go for a 1-1. Now, the next game is a very interesting one. It is West Ham against Manchester United at West Ham. That is the key factor here. Obviously, at Old Trafford, I think Man United are going to take the 3 points, but I had a feeling that West Ham, you know, might do something here. They might actually get a decent result. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to look at the head-to-heads, and in the past 2 trips for Man United to West Ham, they've only picked up 1 point and only scored 1 goal. So I do remember it was 3-1 win for West Ham last season, I think it was, and that was a great game for West Ham, for anyone who's not a Man United fan, to be honest. And I'm going to go for an upset here because I think a lot of people would think that Man United are going to win this one or draw, but I think they got a good win against Leicester, and it's typical United to then go to West Ham and lose. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to West Ham. That would be a fantastic prediction, and yeah, I'd be very happy with that. The next game is Arsenal versus Aston Villa. Like I said, Aston Villa previous week against West Ham, I don't know the result of, but Arsenal again need to bounce back, and what better way to do it at the Emirates? Obviously, they do have a game in the midweek against Eintracht Frankfurt, which is going to be one of their hardest group stage games, so there's going to be some sort of squad rotation here, but I think they should have enough to beat Aston Villa. Then again, I'm not taking into account... Yeah, I'm going to make it higher scoring. I'm not taking into account the fact that they've got Europa League. They might have to rotate things. They might be a bit tired, and Aston Villa could take advantage of that. I was going to go for a 3-1 win to Arsenal, but instead I'm going to go for a 3-2 win to Arsenal. High scoring, Aston Villa taking advantage of that defence, but Arsenal ultimately in the end getting the win. Now the final game, another very interesting fixture, and it's Chelsea up against Liverpool. Liverpool 100% record in the league this season, and they haven't lost up at Anfield at least since Crystal Palace, thanks to a Benteke brace. But this is, of course, a different story. It is at Stamford Bridge, and Liverpool did lose. I think they lost, last against, excluding European football, they lost against Man City in January, and then they lost against Chelsea in the League Cup, I believe. And I can't remember, I think that was actually at Anfield as well. But either way, Chelsea at Stamford Bridge do okay against Liverpool. Liverpool obviously beat Chelsea in the Super Cup in was it after extra time or penalties? I think they beat them on penalties, and Liverpool did beat Chelsea 2-0 at Anfield previously. But before that, the like 4 or 5 games before that, Liverpool hadn't picked up a win. There was draws, a couple of losses in there. So I think it's going to be one of Liverpool's more tough fixtures, and it's a very tough place for Liverpool to go, it seems, to Stamford Bridge. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, a Desmond 2-2 between Chelsea and Liverpool. Liverpool finally dropping points, Man City closing the gap, and Chelsea getting a good point here against the league leaders. So that is going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like on it, subscribe today, turn on the bell so you don't miss a single video. Yeah, and I will see you in the next video very soon.